Hi, welcome back to YJT. Thank you all for being here, YJT, or Your Journey Together. We have some people. Thanks for being here. We're going to keep your videos off, so just go ahead and put your comments or questions in the chat, and we will see those. This is going to go, the recorded version is going to go to Facebook and our class tag pages, so we just want to keep you guys private if you want to be, but go ahead and put your comments, questions in the chat. Those won't show up on the recording, but we will address those as they come up. So thanks for being here. Today we're going to talk about, well, let's talk about last week. Last week we talked about your suitcase and all the things that are packed in your child's suitcase, all the good things and maybe the not so good things that go in your child's suitcase. And just a reminder from last week, just always try to pack hope in your child's suitcase. That's what we talked about last week. You can catch that session on the closed YouTube page, or if you need the link, let us know. This week, we're going to talk about where the risks or the stress and protection comes from in your life. So together we can identify some of the risks and protections your child may have experienced. So Shauna, before you start in here, I'm going to share my screen. Sorry, pardon the technical difficulties here. All right. Can we see that?
Yes.
Yep. All right. Perfect. All right. Go ahead, Shauna.
Perfect. Hi, Head Start families. My name is Shauna. I'm one of the family services specialists on the family services team. Nice to be with you today. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about resilience, and resilience is just that balancing act between risk and protection. If we're looking at what Casey has shared on our screen, we're going to look at ways that we can tip the scale toward a more positive life outcome for your child. And that comes from balancing out the stress and the risk that your child has experienced with the positive experience that they have protected your child along the way. When children have a lot of things on the risk side of the scale and the scale is tipping more to the left, it could make them more vulnerable and less likely to find success and happiness in life. However, the good news is that we can tip the scale toward the likelihood of a more positive future if we provide more protective factors and counterbalance that risk. We fully understand that in life we can't control all of our situations and the things that happen to us, but we want to make sure that we're actively looking at both sides of that scale, that we can balance some of those risk factors with some of those protective factors and help balance the scale and tip those protective factors in the positive direction.
Yes, absolutely. And last week when we did the suitcase activity, we talked about how all children have both negative and positive experiences packed in their suitcase. So let's think of some stressful or challenging things on this scale that your child has had to deal with on his or her journey of life that could go over on this left side, what stresses your child or their risk factors. I'm going to keep an eye on the chat here. Any things that stress your child or risk factors? A couple more seconds. See anything popping up in there? Yeah, what stresses your child? Yes, mom absent from their life. Yep. So parental separation, that could be a risk factor. What else? Food insecurities. Anything else? Shauna, you have any ideas?
It looks like there's a lot of, stressors in the home that our families do face, and some specific that I think I see are some of those, parental stresses that maybe the kids don't necessarily know how to handle or what they are, but they definitely feel that stress.
Yes. Yep. Thank you for all those things in the chat. Awesome. Yeah. So in our slide, we just put that all as trauma. So there's things that go on in the kids' lives. And I was having a conversation with a mom yesterday, and we were talking about trauma, and she said, could the active shooter threat at Harrisburg be a trauma for my child? And we talked about it and said, absolutely. It's really hard when trauma is outside of our home too, these risk factors and things that we can't always protect our kids from, that come from outside sources. So we really have to put protective factors on that other side to help kiddos, even with trauma that's outside of our control sometimes. With only risk on this scale, we can see that this, the scale might be tipping towards the left there, and they might have a more negative life outcome. However, there have also been positive experiences that have protected your child from harm. So can you guys think of some things that protect and keep your child safe from harm? Let's put those ideas in the chat, and we'll put those up on the right side of the scale. What are some ideas of positive things that protect your child, protective factors?
And protective factors have no limits. They can be anything you interpret or identify as a protective factor. They can be people, they can be things, they can be community. There's so many options to place on that protective factor side.
Yes. Yep. I see me, mom. Yep. Dad, grandma. Good ideas. What else? What other protective factors? What protects your child? Protective factors. Going to Head Start every day. Yes, that's a great idea. Yep. Yeah, having them be in that classroom, get that routine, make those friends, those connections. Thank you for all those ideas. We have a couple up here. So Head Start, you guys said that one. Excuse me. Consistent caregiver. Yep. So mom, dad, grandma, aunt, uncle, friend, neighbor, whoever that consistent caregiver is for your child. Excellent. How about a community? Community, yeah, definitely. So a good community around you and creativity. Awesome. I think we hit on a lot of those. Thanks for those suggestions in the chat. All right.
So as we look at that scale, you'll notice that both those risk and protection factors, all of those come from the environment, from the family, or from within the self. And that can be the child self or the adult self. All of the things that you have on your scale can be found in one of those three places. Excuse me. And then with those as well, we'll look at our slide again. We have the environment, and in the environment, we talk about some of those other things like community activities, churches, teachers, culture. So many things fit into the environment. Our neighbors, our aunties, our uncles down the street, all of those folks fit into our environment. Also within that environment, they have also family, and family is up to interpretation. We understand that family sometimes is mom and dad, sometimes it's grandma, sometimes it's auntie and uncle, and that is perfect. When we talk about family, we talk about consistent caregivers, our siblings, our extended family members. Sometimes it's the neighbor who is just exactly like a grandma. Family is absolutely anybody that you identify to be within your family system. And that within self, that one is a little bit more up to interpretation, a little bit more wide in that definition. So within that self, we talk about things like having a positive attitude, our outlook on life and how we see things, our creativity, our belief system, all of those things that make up our self. So let's identify where your child's protection can come from. And you can try to think of any of the things that we've already listed on there, if you can identify with those. But families at home, if you can think of more that you would add into that, you can certainly identify those and place those within your protective factors as well.
When we tip the scales more to the right, we'll go back here. Well, we're not going to go back to that. Well, when we tip the scales more to the right, towards the protective side, away from the risk side, we're helping the child move toward a more resilient and happy life outcome. So this is kind of at the bottom. So you have your negative outcome when you have a lot of risk factors. Your life could sway more towards the negative life outcome. If you give your child more protective factors, they could sway more towards the positive life outcome. So all the things on the side of the scale that protect your child are going to help him or her have a better chance of a successful and happy life. Throughout our journey, we're going to help you put as many things as possible on the protection side of the scale in the areas of family, you guys, and within your child. And we call all these things protective factors. So next we're going to watch a little video. I'm going to stop sharing here and we're going to share our next screen. We're going to watch a little video that just recaps everything we talked about and kind of just puts it all in a little short snippet of what we just chatted over. Shauna, anything before I share this video?
Nope, I'm excited to watch our video.
All right, let's watch it. I'm gonna share sound. Here we go. All right, there we go. Can we hear it? See it? I love that. This week, what can you do to add to your child's protective factors? That's a great challenge for this next week.
Yeah. So today we learned that despite life's challenges and risks, your child has already had some positive experiences that will balance out the risk and help him or her to be more resilient and successful in their life. There's always something to celebrate. There's always positive. We try to be very strength-based when we work with our families and when we work within our teams as well. We just have to celebrate some of those successes and those strengths as we find them. Um, Thank you all for joining us this week as we continue to work through the Your Journey Together curriculum. And this week talked about balancing those risks and protections. We hope to see you again next week. Bye, guys.
Yep, next time we're going to explore those 3 protective factors a little bit further. So hope you all join us next week. Thanks.
Yes.